Welcome to the Only Male Cruz Show, the podcast. I am the Only Male Cruz. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Let's go to work. All right. Hey, welcome. Unfortunately, I don't have a opening open for this panel. The WOH. We out here. All right. Thanks everybody for pulling up. Looks like some of the panel members are missing. Thought I saw Shirk and Sharon in the house, but girl, you're on the wrong side of the screen, Sharon. Get on up here. I dropped the link in your IG, so come through. We're still waiting on Island Browning. We should be pulling up. We got Annette. I'm Jess. How y'all doing?
I'm good.
I'm
How are you doing?
Hi,
good.
ladies. How are you?
Hey, we're doing good. Thanks for pulling up, Antoinette. Appreciate you all the time. Shout out to Mr. Cal in the house. Thank you so much, Mr. Cal.
Hey, Mr. Cal.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Cal.
Miss Lackey on deck. Let's see. Carolyn Marie in the house. Let's see. Mr. Meet and Greet. Mr. Meet and Greet, you dropped a instrumental video yesterday for about it was like a 10-second video or something, and that was sounding good. But you turned the comments off. So I'm like, man, I wanted to I was hoping to talk to you about that, but I couldn't even comment under there because you had the comments off. So maybe you can put in the chat what the deal was with that. Shrink and Sharon, what you gonna do, girl? Are you coming up on the panel, or are you just gonna sit in the audience, girl? Come on and holler at us now. Okay, on my way. Great. And Carolyn Marie, I know I said what's up to you. So you guys, thanks for pulling up. Again, we're just exercising, trying to give you something you can feel this good Black History Month. Hi, Island Browning. How are you?
Hey, hello, ladies. All is well.
Hi, Island.
Hey.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Antoinette. I'm just Mel.
I'm just. Okay. So, all right. So today, you guys, we're talking about some education or the lack thereof, the fact that they're trying. We did a video. I think we did that panel last week, Alan. You was on there with me where in Florida, they made that they passed that bill where you can't teach. They don't want you to teach Black history. They don't want you to teach. They want to make it illegal for you to for their employees and such to have to hear about discrimination, anything of that nature. So,
Right.
And I think I said in that video last week that all it takes is one state to go ahead and implement a law like that. It sets a precedent. And then the next thing you know, other states, other municipalities are going to try to do the same thing. Well,
Correct.
that's what we got. That's what our problem is today. But before we get into that, I do want to, and I just found this out, I do want to shout out Sylvia, infamous Sylvia. And the reason for that is she, doing the interview with her just this week, I really hadn't been listening to any R. Kelly music. And I just, as I was getting in there, I just learned that we got a new song released with R. Kelly. It's Dr. Dre and 50 Cent. Sounds real good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So even though he's on lockdown, he's hopefully he's making some money off of this. So that'll be great if that's the case.
I'm sure.
How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. I didn't want to talk while she was talking, but hello, everyone on the panel.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Sharon.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
And you guys, if it's possible for us to, mute our phones, I'm about to mute mine right now. Just for, y'all know I got OCD up in this piece. All right. So let's get into some things. I'm going to start with a quick little news clip because that is the purpose for this panel. So check this out.
Sprunica Elementary School in Brown County allegedly sent a letter home to parents allowing students to opt out of Black history lessons.
The last line of that letter in this picture reads, if you would like to opt your child out for receiving these lessons, then sign the form below and have your child return it to the school to give to the teacher. The post is making its rounds on social media with thousands of retweets and comments. One response, this makes me really sad for America. Another writes, why would this even be an option? 13 News reached out to the counselor who wrote the letter and were referred to the superintendent. After leaving messages, we showed up.
We went to the Brown County Schools Administrative Office to speak with the superintendent, but we were told she's not available.
Then Wednesday afternoon, 13 News found out the superintendent sent a letter to parents and staff about the situation. She released this statement to 13 News. She says, in part, quote, we do not allow students and parents to opt out of required curriculum, including instruction on social studies and histories. Any decision related to parental consent and curriculum determinations are made in accordance with the law. We are looking into the matter to determine the justification for the language included in the letter. We will respond to any parental concerns on an individualized basis.
So that's problematic for me. What do y'all think about that video just now? Chime in.
So it's not, it wasn't, the superintendent said that that's not true. Somebody just made a post like that.
No, it actually came from school.
Sent the letter home, a counselor. It was a counselor that did it.
Mm-hmm.
And the superintendent didn't know anything about it.
Right.
No, he was trying to make them aware of they're saying that, you know, they go by the curriculum that they're supposed to lawfully. He pretty much said a lot of nothing.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you're on the right track there, Antoinette, because, yes, so this counselor is the one that sent the letter home.
Yes.
And when the parents got into an uproar, then the superintendent responded and said, well, no, that's not the case. That's not how it goes. So that counselor just went on his own and decided, look, I'm going to give y'all an option whether you guys want to do Black history or not.
And I'm pretty sure he's still working there. He or she is still working there. As well.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they, you know, he didn't have anything to say about it till it was called out, and he's going to protect them until it gets to the point he don't have any choice. You know,
no disciplinary action, because teachers have to teach exactly what's in their curriculum. If they go outside the curriculum, they get fired. I know people who have gotten fired from teaching a little bit too much Black history. So he took it upon himself to go outside of the designated curriculum, and he still has his her job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, let me ask.
Go on ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go after you.
No, I was just gonna say what's interesting to me is that the counselor felt like he could do that.
Thank you.
Right. That's not a part of your job.
Thank you.
As well, what did he think was going to happen when them kids, especially the Black kids, took that home to their Black parents?
Right.
And they read that mess. They would be, you know, livid about something. I know I would.
I would too. I agree. I agree.
That's
and the phone number.
Actually, ladies, well, how would you feel if your child brought that home? Now, hold on. Would you guys get upset and think that Black history should be taught in schools, or would you guys be like, you know, I don't know, you know, what would you guys do?
Well, the issue is that this employee of the school district took it upon himself to write a letter, send it home to all the students, and actually try to act like teaching Black history is optional. And, the letter, what'd you say?
I said, yeah, but like your initial reaction, like how would you feel if, you know, your kid come home and they hand it, oh, Ma, here, and you read it. Like, what would be your initial reaction to that?
The next day I would be at the kids' school. I'd take my kids to school. I'd go inside and ask to speak with the principal and ask, could I talk? And then when the principal get to explain, what happened? Okay, can then you bring him in here? Because I need to understand why you thought it was okay and why you thought you had a authority to do that. Because if we're opting out, I don't want my kids to know no history then. If we opting out then.
I agree. I would be there at the school. I would be there at the school as well. Not only will I be there at the school, if they can't tell me what I need to hear while I'm at the school, I'm on to the superintendent's office.
Right. And that's the thing.
If you can't, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say that's the thing. The fact that it went to the superintendent's office. See, we're upset with the counselor. Like you're like, oh, the counselor shouldn't have wrote it, but you got the principal and the assistant principal before you even get to the superintendent, and somebody had to have cleared this letter. So you have the counselor, the assistant principal, and the principal all who cleared this before we even got to the superintendent to blow his phone up and piss. You know what I'm saying? All angry and stuff.
I see what you're saying.
See, but they love to act like they don't know what's going on after everybody get outraged. So now, since we all acknowledge that he's done something wrong, why is he going to be fired? Because it needs to be some corrective action involved, not just suspended. No, he needs to go. When I drop my kid off, I don't want to see him because I'm going to go to his office and see if he's in there.
Right.
Get him, girl.
As well, how can you trust that person to teach anything if they up there trying to omit a concrete part of history?
Yeah. Well, see,
you can't talk about the Civil War and then don't bring Black people into it.
But they
you
don't.
Can't talk about infrastructures that were built
about
and don't bring Black people. Everything has us incorporated into the history. So there's no denying us.
I wanted to.
They have to talk about us.
I wanted to talk about that, Antoinette, because next I was going to say the school's curriculum of Black history is BS. Is as far as I'm concerned. I teach my kids more about. You know, my kids didn't even know who Malcolm X was. I had to teach. The school doesn't teach Malcolm X, and when I asked the school why you don't teach Malcolm X, they said because he was too violent.
Well, you know what, my son was teaching. His teacher was talking about Martin Luther King, and my son said that Malcolm X is way more important. So she called me and said that she wanted to talk to me because something happened in school. So I'm like, I got a boy, and my boy don't like to argue. He would just hit you in the face, which I have no problem with. I already expressed that to every teacher. My son is very hands-on when he has a temper. So if somebody be mean to him or try to tease him, he's not going to go back and forth. He's going to fight. I know my son. It is what it is. I told my kid, I want you to defend yourself. You would be in trouble in school, but you would never be a trouble at home. So she came to me, walking up to me, thinking she going to tell me about what happened in class. Now, mind you, I didn't know yet of what happened. So when she walked up to me, she looked in my face. She was like, oh, okay, well, Kelson, come in. You can come to your mama, because guess what I had on? I had a Malcolm X face mask on.
There we go.
And my Malcolm X face mask has the picture when he's in the window with the shotgun.
Oh,
so, girl, I'm the wrong. You thought you was gonna come to me and tell me what?
Yeah.
And not only that.
Now, let me wait a minute. Hold on. Let me jump in here.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Look, we out here, panel. But this is why I want to get in here, because here's the point that I want to get to is we will respond to any parental concerns on an individual basis. Don't individual basis me. See, that's not what I'm getting at. Is
exactly you're talking about
whether this counselor had approval, had permission, or he did it on his own. However it went down, the letter got out to the families. So now what you're going to do is call 10 families and speak to them.
That's what I was about to say.
I'm going to need you to make a whole blanket statement and talk about how this teacher, this guidance counselor, no longer works there because he did take it upon himself to cut out a whole slice of the curriculum.
Exactly. And also to piggyback off of what you said, since he sent that out to since the letter went out to affecting a whole group of people, that don't need to be on a one-on-one basis. I need you to, like you said, not only to let them know that that person's being removed, I need you to come together in an auditorium and tell us why. Also, not only come together in the auditorium, but recant what you said, or else I know my child is going to be removed. Because if you could teach other history, all history needs to be teaching.
And see, that's why it's important to be involved in school as well. Like when they have those PTA meetings and stuff like that, if I was a parent at that school, they would, as long as he's there, I'm going to talk about this letter that was sent out. They wouldn't even want to pass me the mic no more.
Come on. I believe that, girl. But see,
they were trying to move me at the bottom of the list.
Right. And I hate why, and the thing, because this had me upset. When I woke up this morning, I saw this. I said, you know what? This is way too much.
Listen, I just Googled this, and I don't know if this is the right Brown County schools, but it says the student body school served by Brown County School Corporation is 94.1% white, 3% black, and 6% Asian or Asian Pacific Islander.
There you go.
So
now you know
that
why.
is the reason why they felt that the back, and they still feel with this on an individualized basis, they still feel that with their percentage of the people that they serve, that it will not be that big of a backlash. But what they don't understand is now it's been what is it, online, it's now in the interwaves, and we've caught wind of it.
Right.
So
well, he said in this letter, which I don't have it in my hand, but what he said in this letter were words to the effect of, hey, you know what, this is Black History Month, and during this time, we like to go ahead and talk about, good positive things, and most of you are so positive and so, knowing and everything, so you don't have to do this if you don't want to. That's pretty much how he was breaking it down, where, you guys are so good, and even him insinuating that they're so fresh and so clean, that if you guys don't want to learn about Black history, don't worry about it. You don't have to.
The children need, well, I don't agree with the Black history curriculum in most of the schools, because it starts with us being slaves. When the story is written by the victors or the people who they feel won, the people who didn't win, they make them out to be something that they're not. Don't tell your kids about the people that really stood up, that really took a stand, and it's taking a stand to this day. Like, how could they leave out Malcolm X because he shouldn't have been so powerful? They leave out real powerful people. I hate to be the one to break it to anybody that didn't know, but most of the people that are in your history books that they teach us were pawns. They were pawns. They were puppets.
Well, yeah. Here's my thing, though. This has to stop, because, like we said last week, they've already passed a bill in Florida, and to my knowledge, it's not law yet. So they've already passed a bill in Florida. This really leads us over to, I think this is a school in Oklahoma, where there are new, it says teachers tackle Black History Month under new restrictions. So in states where laws now limit classroom discussions about race and discrimination, many teachers are watching what they say and are more anxious about their jobs. There's like 37 states that have already passed some type of restriction. It says 37 states have introduced measures to limit how race and discrimination can be taught in public school classrooms. And here's my thing. I don't think any of this should be done, but if you're going to limit it, then don't just start at Black history. I don't know what you think. I was thinking
that too. I was going to ask you that, Mel. Are they going to not teach my child about the Holocaust? Because I'm not Jewish, and we didn't, right. That's really negative. It's sad. Right. The pictures are really, they're really bad. I feel really, I feel my heart really pours. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, are they going to not teach that? Are we going to, is my kid going to not have to sit and learn about that?
Right.
No, yeah, we're going to have to, they're going to have to sit and learn about that. They're going to teach less Black history and everything else, and then add other groups. Illinois just passed a law last year that they're adding Asian history into the curriculum. So you're teaching less Black history to diminish the accomplishments and the things we've been through in America's history. I don't understand how they are allowed or think they can teach just American history and exclude us, like we haven't done so many significant things.
Exactly, like the street light, like the toilet, like the first open heart surgery. It's so many things that our people have accomplished.
Black people built Wall Street. Black people built the White House. It was a man who all the architecture in Washington D.C. A Black man did that. Like, it's not, but this is just a sign to me that just shows that we have to get more involved in the teaching of our own children.
Exactly.
Because Asian people don't teach nothing about Asian people, but they know their history because they go to regular school, then they go and hop on a bus, and then they go to a whole nother school to learn about Asian history and Asian culture. So they can keep that in mind in their everyday lives. So we're going to have to, as a group, we're going to have to just get better with teaching our own children, because they don't even teach the full story anyway. My kids know, I told them ever since kindergarten, when you start learning about history in school, come home and tell me every time the teacher open up our mouth, because you need to be corrected, because it's not going to be for one, it's not going to be all the way the truth. And some of it is fabricated.
Y'all want to hear something?
I had a friend of mine. Go ahead.
In my daughter's school, and remember I told y'all last panel, I live where it's predominantly Caucasians. And in my daughter's high school, I had to go and I had to step on her counselor's throat, because her social studies teacher or history teacher, one of them, was teaching them, and she came home with a homework and she asked me what the difference was between the bad KKK and the good KKK.
My.
See,
I said, I don't know, baby. You tell me, because they all hanging us from trees. She said, no, my teacher said that none of them isn't like that anymore.
Okay.
They didn't tell us.
So here's the problem. The problem is that, yes, I agree with what you said, Antoinette. We, as a parents, we do need to go ahead and be more proactive in what our kids are learning. But by the same token, we have to stop letting them diminish us, and then we just take our little brown paper bag and go on to the crib and let them do what they do. We are not stepping up enough. No school district should be feeling comfortable enough to say, well, you know what? I'm just going to send home this letter, and I don't need the principal's and I don't need to reach out to the superintendent. I'm just going to do this. Either that counselor did that on the low, or he did that with their full backing, and now that it's front and center, now they playing the role.
And I feel like Plan B is what happened. I think he did it. He did it with the full backing, and so that the principal wouldn't have to keep for it. They let the counselor send it out.
I agree with Shrinking. I believe that they had that's how it works. I believe that the counselor had their full backing. I don't think that they could have sent that paper out like that without that.
There's no letter that's going out with the school system without all the people or kids' approval.
And they just threw him under the bus after he got in trouble.
Exactly.
They knew he wasn't going to get fired, because, like I told you, the demographic is 94.6 white, 94.1% white, and only 0.3% black. I'm sorry, not 3%, 0.3% black, 0.6% Asian and Pacific Islander, and 2.5% Hispanic, Latino, and 0.6% American Indian or Alaska.
AKA not a whole lot of Negroes there. But
and white people don't get fired, they get transferred. So
but look at this letter, y'all. It's not on school head oh my God, letterhead.
You're right. It's not on letterhead.
It's not on school letterhead. Look at the little crayons or the pencils on the side. It's for the
not
margin
official
and whatnot.
at all.
It's totally unofficial, and that could have been part of the plan. Here at the bottom, my student does not have permission to receive this lesson. In bold, does not.
So that means they took the time to go home or go wherever and type that mess, which means that is who they are truly inside. They don't care about teaching about no Black history, because they probably don't care for Black people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you pick up a job like that,
in the school either,
you can't just skip over that.
Come on.
It's a part of what makes America today. How do you explain all these, like last year when all these riots and things were going on? How do you explain that?
I bet you
you don't think it has a connection with our history? Like, I don't get it.
The insurrection. I bet you that January 6th insurrection is going to be in the history books. I bet you they'll teach that.
Come on.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and the other point on that too is that if they take out the teaching of this Black history, and then when we have another riot or another outburst or protest or whatever you want to call it, then now they get to spin the narrative on that too. Well, see, we told y'all they were savages. We told y'all.
Right.
And they had no foundation. And I promise y'all, I tried and tried and tried to find, Antoinette, maybe you saw, maybe somebody else on the panel saw a video of a white 16-year-old or whatever. The school had did a walkout for Martin Luther King Day.
Oh my God, the
And
girl.
and got up there and said Martin Luther
Oh my
King
goodness.
was the first man to free the slaves. I don't think you heard me.
You sent it to me, Mel. You remember what
What?
I told you? I said her parents need they ass beat.
I could not find it. Antoinette, I couldn't find it, girl. I was looking for it because I was going to include that in here too. But this girl
It was
said
on
Martin.
The
TikTok.
disconnect is hilarious. I
It was on
cannot.
It was on TikTok. I saw it. I said I couldn't even
Oh
watch
my
the whole thing
God.
because I was so embarrassed. And I see that's what happens when you have 0.3% of black people in your school. Because somebody should have told her to get down and shut up.
Right.
Exactly.
And then that just shows
You
how
can't just
effective
skip
is the Black
chapters.
history.
You cannot
That
skip
just shows
chapters.
no, and that shows how effective is the Black history for somebody
Yeah.
that's a teenager. She's not even a little bitty
That's
girl.
what I was gonna
She's
say.
a
How is she
teenager.
16 and not know that, Martin Luther King did not free the slaves? And on top of that, I was gonna add to that as well is it's important to learn your own Black history so that you can educate your own children of your own history. Because how do they know where they're going if you don't know where you came from?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is true. So
It's a whole holiday in his name, and you mean to tell me you don't know nothing about?
And
I
on
just
top
to
of
tell
that,
you, ma'am.
on top of that,
My God.
you need to educate your children on what Juneteenth is.
Yeah.
I
They are
resent it to you,
educated
ma'am.
already? They need to, pardon me? Okay.
I don't think it's just the Black history that we should teach our children. I think we should teach our children not just the Black history, but how it coincides with the white history, the Asian history in this country, and how not just even in the country, but in the world. How do you know that European was originally dark-skinned people? I didn't know that for a long time. That European, when it first came, it meant dark skin, and the actual meaning of the word Black is colorless.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I started teaching my kids history, I started in Africa, then I went to the Moors, then I went to after the Moors lost, because Black people ruled over in Europe for over 700 years. But once they the Spanish, and it was the Reconquista, was just they tried to use religion as an excuse to attack and get all the Black people out. Once they got all the Black people out, then that's when they stole a lot of the Moorish astrology, medicine, writings and stuff. And then they started getting on boats. That's when they noticed, when they started going other places, there's Black people everywhere.
You got your thing up there, Mel.
I know. I got the video.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. Let's just because Antoinette says it. Let's keep game.
I didn't know you knew.
I thought you were showing something you didn't want to show.
And this little girl had said this.
I am so glad that years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King, the first Black man, ended slavery. Because if not, people would be whipped every day.
Yosowa High School had a walkout today, and this little girl had said this.
My
I
God.
am so glad that years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King, the first Black man, ended slavery. Because if not, people would be whipped every day.
Strong and wrong.
I just
Strong and wrong.
every time. Educate what in the world was her parents not making sure? Oh my goodness.
There's a little Black girl in the front, and I'm going to look at her side-eyed. Why didn't you say something, sis? You got a front row seat. And if you didn't know, I need to talk to your mama and your daddy because something ain't right. You should have said, so you got braids in your head. If you're not Black, you are appropriating the Black culture with them braids, and you should know a little bit.
Well,
she was so passionate.
I appreciate her passion.
Yeah, she was. That's why I was like, she was strong and wrong, because she was standing in her stance, but it just wasn't right.
I couldn't even.
You want to get jiggy with it, but see, and that's the other thing too, is because if we're not teaching them this, they're going to pick it up. They're going to learn something about this here. And
there's a part 2 of that, Mel. She keeps going, sis. It was long. When I watched it. I couldn't even watch the whole thing. I had to stop it.
That's why she has friends with other races. She just can't have friends with other races because her friends alone should have told her that Martin Luther King didn't free the slaves. Now,
they probably didn't know she was going to do that. And like I said, maybe they didn't know. So they up in there.
They didn't know.
So now we
I
all
don't know.
They just out here.
For her to made it that far, them history teachers she had need to be slapped.
Come on.
Right. Somebody failed her. Terribly.
Let me be a devil.
I really feel bad for her. I really do, not knowing that at that age.
Let me be
Because
the
I meant
devil's
I
advocate.
think what she said, she meant well, but she just
That's
wasn't
what I was
Right.
going to
well.
say. I was going to say, let me be the
Yeah.
devil's advocate because there's a lot of Caucasians that want to help and they just don't know
Exactly.
because they're
Exactly.
Yeah.
All people are
taught.
like
They're
that.
not really properly taught in school and they're not taught at home because their parents don't know. So it's a
Mhm.
lot of Caucasians that really want to step up, that really want to help the cause, but they just don't know. And she could have been one of those because
And
she
that's
really
why,
seemed like she cared.
right. And that's why it's so important that some type of decision has to be made about, how this is going to be handled, because you want to take it where it's organized training. You don't want it to be spoken about on the job. You don't want it to be spoken about in the school. So people are just going to piecemeal this stuff together, and then you wind up with that. The first black man to free the slaves. So there was a second black man to free the slaves. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah.
Third and fourth one as well.
I didn't even look. The whole fact that she
That's
think
what
it was a
Sharon-
man, like I don't look. I can't. My head hurt, Mel. You
I said
The
it may have
one
been a
thing
third
that-
and fourth one as well.
The
You
one
know,
thing I can say about the younger generation that I have noticed is, and I kind of wish the older generation was like that, they, even though they're more sensitive these days, they seem to be more unified, I guess.
in tune.
Right,
They're
in
more
tune.
in
They're willing to open up and learn about what has happened versus the people that they live with hiding the truth. I do notice that even when I have gone on like different YouTube channels on here and looked at stuff,
Yeah.
you do you do see a lot of white people saying it's unfair and this, that, and the third. And it's these younger kids. I just wish older people would kind of learn off of that.
Right.
We can learn
I
off
see
of
the
each
sa- I see
other
the same
about some
manner.
things, but
The thing
I
is,
have noticed that.
we're the older people, and well,
Right.
we're older. We're not old though. We cute sisters, but we, you know what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, we are the ones that are going. We're going to have to put that burden on us. Like I was telling Mel before we went live. I said my kids go to a predominantly white school, and my daughter, I had an issue this Friday I had an issue, and the counselor had called Caucasian, and she said that there was an incident. My daughter was yelling and cursing, and that's not my daughter's baseline. That's not my daughter's behavior. My daughter is the sweetest, most kindest, soft-spoken, easily startled, crazy child you could ever meet. And so I was like, what do you mean? That's not right. And she said she was arguing with this white boy because she went up to a white girl and she told her, your shirt is racially insensitive. And the girl was like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I won't, I won't wear it again. And so the boy was like, oh my gosh, it's not that serious. And he had evidently said something to piss my daughter off to the point where she cursed him out in the middle of the thing. And so she called her stepdad instead of me, and I was really upset about that because I'm like, you should have called me first. And
Right.
and the counselor was like, well, I don't know if Kiara's in trouble or not. So when I got on the phone, I'm the mommy, the pit bull. I'm like, what do you mean? I said, if she said that the shirt was racially insensitive, who are you to say that it's not? She is a black child. She is a child of color in a sea of white faces. If she feels uncomfortable, I said, would you like if I came up in a school with a shirt that said "Hail Hitler"? Do
See?
you think you would need me? You would, and you would tell me that it was inappropriate. And I told you, oh, it's not that serious. I said, it's this thing with Caucasians loving to tell us what is not and is offensive. I
Right.
said, we all need to sit down because obviously there's something going on with this little boy, and I don't want him triggering my daughter again. So we all need to have a sit down. And that's what we like as black, as people of color. And you know what I'm saying? Not just that, but as mothers, because us women, you know what I'm saying, we be doing it, we be holding it down.
That's true.
Really gotta step up sometimes, and we gotta tell them no, it's not okay. The men, they're more reserved, they're more go with the flow. You let dads be dads, but us mom, we gotta do the pit bull and the skirt thing sometimes, especially when it
Right.
comes to our children and to racial lines.
Right.
And
Well, let me jump in and ask this question. How do you think this can be resolved on a large scale? We all agree that in the home we have to, step to the plate even further. But how do we fix this on a national level? Because that counselor's phone number is on that paper.
We call it.
Hint, hint.
We call it. Exactly.
We all call it.
Exactly. We all
I
call
already screenshotted it. I already wrote it down. I'm gonna call it when we get off of here. I'm gonna leave a message. Then I'm gonna call back again on Tuesday.
Since you got to go on and call it now and see does the voicemail come up. Call it now.
Yeah, and another thing we can do is we have to be a little bit more focused on who we vote for, because these type of bills get passed, you know, and it's everybody is so focused, and I've seen a lot of arguing, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of debating about the presidential elections. But they're not the people who pass the bills. It's the Congress, it's the House of Representatives, it's the Senate that create bills. They argue back and forth about the bills, which, you know, the nerd in me likes that. They argue back and forth about bills, and then that's how bills get passed. And the only power the president has is either to approve it, ignore it, and if he ignores after 10 days, it gets passed automatically, or he vetoes it. Presidents don't like vetoing bills because it makes them look bad and is frowned upon. So anything that gets all the way up to the Senate, and once that becomes a bill, the president just go ahead and let it go. So for us, like, even like last year when I voted for my president, I have people who reached out to me and was like, well, who you pick for? We are in the ages of Google. Now, I've told a few people, now I'm about to cuss you out, because you knew you had, you was about to go vote. And, you know, we looking for names that look black, and that doesn't work anymore. We have too much information for us to know who exactly we need to be voting for and things they've done in the past. Like this year in the midterms, it's time to vote for the Congress, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. And these judges is the ones that's locking up folks and doing all this ignorant stuff that we get mad at. Now we mad at when a judge gives somebody 2 years, like what we seen yesterday, but then they'll get voted back into their position.
Right.
You know, just like the Asian law got voted in last year, and then now I feel like, oh, we do got an Asian lady in office. I wonder if she had anything to do with it. And then there she is grinning. She sure got it passed. So now we got to learn about Asian history, and she helped push that through.
Now, piggyback off of what you said, local is so important as you vote.
Yes.
You definitely need to vote for your local schools. If you don't want people like the people that's put in place in that system, vote them out. Our vote counts. Our vote counts. When they have something for your local, the local school board, when the voters come across your local anything, that's where voting starts. It starts with anything local. Anything at home, you may like, oh, I'll just wait. I'll wait till it's time for Congress. I'll wait till it's time for the president. No, you start with the little things at home, because that would affect you the most. Where you at.
Did you guys want me to call it while we were on live?
Yes, absolutely. And hopefully we can hear it. Yes.
For y'all to finish talking.
We'll all leave a voicemail. Quit playing.
Hold on. Okay.
Let's see.
Can you hear?
You may dial it at any time to report an attendance issue.
Oh, people call it good. See, that's music, baby. That is music, y'all. When y'all are calling and doing what you need to do on the grassroots level, that busy signal means they full.
Yeah.
That means they got a lot of phone numbers.
Or they took it off the hook. I don't know.
See, but that still means that they don't want to hear it. It still means they got the pressure on them.
They got a lot of them. Exactly.
They got the pressure on them, baby.
But you also can email them back.
You guys
Go
put
to
the
a
phone
higher
number
level.
in the chat so that I can put it up on the banner on the.
You said, would you want me to put you want me to put the number in?
No, I was just asking. I think Mr. Cal.
Okay.
She's a mod.
Mr.
She can.
Cal
If you could see it, Mr. Cal.
She is good with modding.
see
Mr.
it.
Cal, you was a very good
Mr.
mod.
Cal,
Yes, Mr. Cal is the it.
Look here, and last week when Mr. Cal pulled up, I had to reach out to her. I was like, "Girl, what took me so long to make?" Thanks, Mr. Cal, for being a mod, girl. I don't even know. I'm like, how did I?
She be everywhere I go. She be
that girl should be on.
She's awesome.
On it. She be on it.
Very much so.
Go in. She is the bomb.com. You love Miss
Try calling the number just one more good time.
I have no problem.
I be putting stuff on read dial. I don't be playing with these people.
Yes, I'm so in so much of a habit of calling schools, calling police
Come
stations,
on.
calling mayors, calling people. I call, and I know from me calling all the time. Once you get to that little busy signal thing, especially in the age of call ID, and then
Oh,
Hold
if
on.
that means a
Hold
lot of
on.
people are calling,
I'm about to call
all
it
right.
now.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm about to
Okay.
call it.
We love you too,
and
Mr.
I'm gonna
K.
start calling them tomorrow.
Juniper Utica Elementary. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We have to
Somebody
call on Tuesday or Wednesday when they put the phone back on the hook because I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
on the
today
hook.
it's a holiday weekend.
Yeah, it's a holiday.
It is.
Oh yeah, tomorrow's
They're
President's Day,
celebrating it.
right?
Yeah, tomorrow they're
Oh,
celebrating the history they want us to know about.
No, it's
Which is
when is
okay.
what is it? Monday is
No,
President's
it's
Day.
Monday. Monday's President's Day. Yeah, Monday's President's Day. But like I said, teach your children, learn your proper history so you can teach your children. Because if you don't, you're your children's best teacher. You really
Yeah,
are.
I'll be
much as
teaching
we
my
need the
kids
school to
tomorrow
teach
how
you.
George Washington had slave teeth in his mouth.
He sure did. They said it was wooden. They lying. It was not wooden. Those was. And you know what's? I was very lucky because like I told y'all last time. I don't like calling it conspiracy theories because a lot of times these things are real.
mm-hmm.
It's real. It's just not like the popular opinion or the spoken truths. And I've been doing this for over 25 years. And so back when I started looking deeper into what was going on, because I started with religion, because it was like it was just weird to me. So I started like really doing heavy things in religion. Then I went into, the government, which it's all connected, by the way.
Yes,
And
it is.
and so not
And
in the way,
I did
not
the
in the
same
good
thing
way.
too. I did the same thing too
Oh, you
because
did
the
too?
religion didn't sit right with me. So then, especially when I found out that slaves had their separate Bible and the
Yeah.
things that was taught just for slaves, then I realized those same things are still taught in a passive type of way.
No,
And
the
and
slave
then I learned
Bible
how.
is now
Yes.
the main Bible. The Bible, the Bible that only because at first I didn't understand why they would give the slaves a Bible, but they couldn't read. You wasn't allowed to learn to read. Like that didn't make no sense. Like what was y'all teaching if you couldn't read?
They handpicked certain parts of the Bible that teached about being servants and being humble and turn the other cheek. So when you're getting beaten, when you're working hard, then you're supposed to look for heaven, not for standing up for yourself and taking your power for yourself. That God wants you to be empowered. They didn't teach none of that. Nothing about God wants you empowered. Nothing about God wanting you to have abundance here on earth. Nothing. They took all that out and just talked about whatever you get, you need to take it because you're cursed. The curse of Ham was us, and that we deserve to be slaves and we're supposed to be slaves. That's what we was being taught.
And to obey your masters and all that good stuff. And then I learned that not only that, but they took so much out of the Bible. Remember I said my grandfather, he was part of one of those, societies and stuff. And I used to read his books. And that's what put the bug in my ear. Like, why, what's the difference? Why are they, and so they took a lot, only a certain group of people are allowed to learn what's going on for real. And those group of people are sworn to secrecy.
Yeah.
So, Alan, what are your thoughts, girl?
On exactly which part?
On any of it, girl. I saw you had unmuted your mic. I was trying to get you in there real quick.
Well, I do agree that there's spiritual, that, with the Bible thing, that there is spiritual manipulation that was done to our people, which I think that's why we're so sensitive about church today.
Yes.
Because some of us have been enlightened and others have not. And so it's a constant. I noticed that amongst Black people, that is like a big thing that I do see them arguing. So sadly, it did work in their favor because we can't even come together on that.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's so much. It's so much as a race that we have all of this to contend with. So if you look at it, not only do we have reparations on the table that people first chance they get, they're trying to say, y'all don't deserve it.
Exactly.
Then they're
See,
trying
but
to
they can get away with saying we don't deserve it if they take out the reason why we deserve it.
They're
absolutely.
trying
Right.
to phase
And
it out.
so you
You
have
Yeah.
got
that.
to remember what they teach now is these kids are going to be the adults soon. They're going to be the
Yeah.
decision makers.
The next
So
generation.
if they make it not important now, then when those kids grow up, it's going to be not important on a more higher
On a
scale.
larger scale.
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
is it? Systemic. On a systemic scale.
Systemic
That's how
scale,
they
yeah,
keep
exactly.
systemic racism in. And you got to understand, we were breaking through that barrier. Like
Yep.
we were breaking through that. We were making some ways through that. That's why there's so many little Caucasian kids that don't really know about Martin Luther King trying to speak up, because we were making that headway. But they
Right.
they're like much, and they're trying to close that floodgate before it opens.
Okay, so we call the number tomorrow or on Tuesday, since Monday's a holiday.
Tuesday.
Right.
We teach our
Tuesday.
kids at home. We vote locally. And what else do we do? Because I'm tired of sitting down.
That's important. Locally is very
Get the word
important.
out. Get the word out. Share it. Share that number with everyone you know who may have not seen this broadcast.
But
or
you
whatever.
know, it's
Share
not
this
just that
broadcast.
number. Because just like Mel
Share
said,
it. I
they're
mean,
trying to
not
do
just
that
the number,
everywhere.
but the information. Exactly.
Is
Get the
there
whole
a-
information out.
I'm
That's what I
sorry.
said, Willis. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask if there's a way that a petition can be done
It's most likely
that.
it probably already is. Google.
out there.
I
Okay.
Probably at the
can Google.
change.org. You can look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna
most
look it up on
likely it
Change.
already is. Because honestly, the internet don't play. And
Right.
I used to be a part of that sector. I used to be deep into that the black sector that went. I was a pit bull. I used to go against the little racist industries, and I used to bite them, and I would not let go. And we made a lot of change. But the thing about it is that I'm pretty sure there is already something up there. Just Google.
Since
Google.
January 2021,
Okay.
according to a list compiled by Education Week, 37 states have introduced measures to limit how race and discrimination can be taught in public school classrooms, and 14 have imposed laws or rules to enforce these restrictions. This legislation is very nebulous.
That's more
Very.
than half of the states in this
Yeah,
country.
that is. It's more than half of them.
And
May
this
I get kind of political for a second?
go ahead.
I blame Biden, man.
You're trying to get specifically political.
Us.
Okay,
Like he
why do you blame him?
never
Then share
liked
your-
us.
Yeah, share your point of view.
Yeah, he never liked people of color. He never liked us, man. He has never, his whole career, he's never liked us, man. And I knew when he got in, he was going to let some tomfoolery like this go by. You know what I'm saying? I knew it. And it's just.
Well, let me jump in. Let me ask this question, because I know there's some Trump supporters in the house, and let me do this real quick too. Shout out to the new music, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, and R. Kelly, y'all. That's on YouTube. I just found out today, and it's banging. It's banging just a little bit. So they said R. Kelly
Wow, I'm
has so much
surprised.
unreleased music that he could continue to just, make money. I hope he's getting paid off of these things. So, but I was going to jump in because Antoinette, I think you had mentioned it before about these HBCUs and the recent bomb threats that have been going on back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
What I thought was really interesting was when Donald Trump was in office, and somehow he tried to get super duper cozy with these HBCUs. And I know a lot of Black people feel like, yeah, well, see, he was doing the right thing. He was trying to look out for us and all this and that. But
He was trying to get our vote.
He was trying to do something.
That was it.
I think he was trying to get in on. I think what he was trying to do, because it was that black man. I don't remember his name, but
Pizza guy, the guy who owned Godfather's Pizza.
No. This was a
Okay.
black man who's actually a preacher, and
Yep.
he's only one
I
of.
forget his name,
Yeah,
but I know who you're talking about.
Glasses. And he was real. He was like, yeah, Donald Trump. He about them HBCUs, and he giving us money for him and this and that. But
That's cap.
he giving you money because you selling out something? Because
And
why?
my thing is, if Trump cared and wanted to do something, he had 4 years to do so.
Yes, girl.
He just started to really act like he was caring. But my thing is, I thought it was a good thing because now, okay, Trump is reaching out and trying to offer black people something. What are you going to do, Biden? Because we have to get out of this. We have to take emotions out of politics. It's not about who you like. It's what you're going to do for me for my vote. If we look at our vote like money, we wouldn't be spending it willy-nilly. We out here spending our vote willy-nilly and being loyal to a default to the Democrats for no reason. They haven't done anything for us. And I don't care which racist white person is offering something, as long as you're offering something, but you're not getting my vote, especially when I got brothers and sisters that's in jail and you ain't trying to get them out off a crime bill you constructed. And also you have all these newspaper articles calling us monkeys, talking about something you don't want black people going to school, white folks, it's going to be a jungle out in our streets. Really? And then people forgot all about that and thought he changed and put him in office. I knew he was going to do that as well. I knew it was going to go to crap in a handbasket.
Let me explain. Donald Trump, he ain't ish. He ain't never been ish, and he ain't never said he was ish. And I personally, I never thought that he. Oh, you know how people like, oh, he's a this, he's that. No, he's not. He ain't ish. But at the same time, he's an equal opportunity piece of shit.
Yes, and you can appreciate that. He kept it equal to everybody. He don't like white folks. He don't like Mexican. He don't like nobody.
He don't like broke people.
According to the New York Times, Eric Parker, a history teacher in Oklahoma, said that his state's new law made him more anxious about what he told his students.
And what color is he?
He's black. He's black.
And that's why he's worried about being fired.
Well, and they're saying that, and I think I have that on here, where they're saying that that's how a lot of teachers are feeling now. They're like, man, we don't know if we should teach them this or should we not, or how should we do it? Here's where one teacher took her Black Lives Matter sign down, which give her a round of applause.
You see how the Spanish teacher took down her black. You see how they make sure they tell you it was a non-black person that did it. That's to make other Spanish people do it too. In
rural New Hampshire, a Spanish teacher took down a Black Lives Matter sign in her classroom. In Lubbock, Texas, a social studies teacher felt that candid political discussions with students were becoming kind of a tightrope. An Oklahoma City history teacher began to think twice about using the word white to describe people who defended slavery. What? And in February, public school teachers traditionally shape lessons around History Month. This year, educators in several states are handling their classes a bit more gingerly. Now, what do you mean?
I guarantee you,
slavery? Everything is all our history as we go ahead. Our history as we know is study being changed.
Thank you.
I guarantee you,
being changed before our eyes. And
I'm sorry.
And it's our history as we know it is being changed in front of our eyes, and people need to wake up.
Yeah.
People need to wake up. I mean, everything, when it gets to the point where a teacher can't even have to wonder about what words should they say when describing what happened in history, how they should say it, or different things like that. Our history is being changed. That's why it's so important for you to educate yourself on much as you can and teach your children. So if nobody else, if your child doesn't know it, it can't be, you can't put it on somebody else. But why didn't teachers teach that? Why didn't you teach it?
Right.
You're your child's first teacher.
Absolutely.
And see, all it takes is one child too, because I remember my son, I taught him about Emmett Till last year. Especially I felt it was time. He had turned 10 and I wanted to start introducing him to more sensitive subjects. Because, the death of Emmett Till was very significant. Like, he moved and shaped the civil rights movement. And a lot of people want to talk about Martin Luther King being the push for it, but it was Emmett Till's death that was the push for it. And he went to school when school started like a month later, and he said he was talking to his best friend about it. He was like, Mommy, he didn't know. And I'm like, well, you're going to find other people who may not know. But as I teach you, it is your turn to teach others as well. Like, you have that power as well to teach other little kids in your classroom the things that, as I teach you. And that's what it is going to have to take. It's going to take for us to do everything that we can, and then let that be a seed that starts to grow and starts to spread. We're going to have to take our power back and take the initiative to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
When I look at that, with that article that Mel just read, I noticed that they mentioned that the one teacher was Spanish, but they didn't mention the nationality of the second teacher. And I'm willing to bet that second teacher was Caucasian. People write articles that's one of the things I like to do, is go through articles. When I tell a story, I like to put the articles up, because articles are written for a purpose. And the reason they didn't say the other person's nationality, because it didn't fit the agenda of what they wanted to accomplish during the article.
That's interesting.
What they want to do is they want to, the people of color, it's all divide and conquer. Spanish are people of color. You know, they're undesirable just as well as we are. We're just a little darker in hue.
Well, there's a hierarchy.
Yeah. So
there's a hierarchy, and I feel like what they're trying to do is they can continue to hold us down as long as they pile on at other undesirables, because in the system of white supremacy, if you're not white, you're really not desirable overall. But it's just something that they have against Black people. It's something that they have against our race as Black Americans, that they do not want us to get a leg up any shape, form, or fashion.
It's because we were the original here. You got it.
Absolutely.
Like I said in our last live, the Indians that are mostly lighter. And if we were to get a leg up and realize that we were here first, they would owe us back everything that they have built. And that's their whole system.
Right.
Their whole system would crumble.
Right.
And think about how would a narcissist feel if you knock down their whole feeling of importance?
Yeah, they wouldn't accept it, for starters. That's for starters. They would still deny it. They'd be like, no, that wasn't me. It's not me. I'm still front. I still got all this money. And the accountants have already come through and sent that letter to everybody and their uncle that we can't certify that these funds that he has are any good, but they're still going to deny it. And that's how narcissists do.
Right. They don't want you to know the truth, because the truth cripples them. So it's just simple as day. You know, they want to remove stuff. They want to hide stuff because they know if the truth came out, they got to face that white guilt. They got to face all of everything. They got to acknowledge and accept what is due.
Not only that,
it's time for justice time now. We're asking for reparations. So it's justice time now. So they want to say, I don't want to think about nothing that y'all have done, because I don't want to have to pay you guys, because I don't want you to have an economic footing to be equal to me or even above me.
Right.
And going on that, think about it. Those pictures in the history books of those Caucasians messing with the little black kids, that was in like the 60s and the 50s. I was born in the 80s. So that's somebody's grandmother. That they were alive at the same time my mama was alive, which means you can actually trace those people back and say, look, I want my money. You messed up.
The thing is too, is if these laws keep, continue to take hold and expand, what's going to happen is pictures like we see on Twitter and Facebook and all these other places, they're going to ban those too. They're going to say, nope, it makes us feel discomfort. So we don't want to see those pictures, but this is what y'all did. This is what your ancestors did to our ancestors. So how come y'all can't see it, but we get to be at home with this nightmare? Because when you look at some of those pictures, I'm like, Lord, have mercy. I can't believe that they actually did this. Antoinette, I think you had something on Twitter where they used to have Christmas cards or something
postcards.
like that.
Postcards. If you type in lynching postcards, you will see thousands of postcards. Every time they lynch, burn, did something with black people, they would have public gatherings with women, kids, grandma, grandpa, everybody smiling, everybody proud of what they done. So 50, 60 years ago, you was proud of what you done. And now you ashamed. Now it's going to make your kids feel bad. Well, guess what? I have to teach my children these things and they feel bad. So everybody needs to feel bad because you did it. Why did you do it?
Right.
You can't erase a part of history that's happened. If it's happened, it's out there. So there's no sense in it being swept under the rug like it haven't happened. Because it's going to.
And these postcards are memorabilia for some of these white people's families. They still have these postcards to this day.
It's not even 60, 50 years ago. We still live with this fear. Because like I said, my daughter, she they can go. She's part of this little leadership program, and they can go to Ocean City for a whole weekend. But the only catch is they got to leave their phone at home. And the first thing that went across my mind is that's a long drive, number one. And number two, a lot of black kids don't come back from stuff like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be sending my kids to that.
Exactly. So my first thing was like, no. And then the lady who did the program, she was like, "No, let me tell you about it. I can come to your house and I don't care. I'm not sending my daughter off for a whole rack of Caucasians to somewhere I can't get to."
And how come they can't? How come they couldn't have their phone, Jess?
Because it's like a getaway, like how you go on a retreat.
Like a retreat.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, a retreat. And at first she was like, "Well, if you can't, we have scholars."
You faded out on us, Jess.
I just don't, and I didn't want to explain to her that I don't trust it. Right. I just didn't know. So I went to my boss, and I'm gonna tell you, I love my boss. I love my boss because my boss is Caucasian. He's a man, but he's very cultured. He's lived everywhere, and he's really good with social issues. And I told him, and he was like, is it really a fear or is it your fear? I said, it's really, it's a fear. He said, true, but is it more of your fear? And is it something you could do that she could still have the experience because it's a good program and you won't be as afraid? And they was like, well, her older sister can come along too. And I'm like, but they still ain't gonna have it on.
Two for the money. And see,
then you'll have two kids gone.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm gonna be honest. I mean, Lord have mercy. Ooh, Jesus help.
It's scary. And they don't understand that we live with this fear. I lived out, I came out here so my kids can have a better life and live in a better area. And I ended up scared that my kids were going to get harassed by Caucasians walking home, and I might find them hanging from a tree. To this day, in 2021, that's still a
they did it in 2019, they did it in 2020, 2021. So it ain't like the people ain't practicing.
So it's like, how
literally
dare
lynching
guys
folks, and they lynched that one guy and said, "Oh, it was suicide."
Yeah, you know how many of them they said was suicide? They said a 70 or 80-year-old woman went up there and hung her goddamn and said, "Oh my goodness, man, I'm gonna get upset."
Correct.
I'm gonna get upset with that one because that's my mama age. You said, and I know my mama ain't finna do that. Why would someone live until the age of 70, 78, 79 and then go hang themselves on a tree outside?
Man, black people have many ways to kill themselves, and that's not one of them. First of all, we don't even be killing ourselves like that. If we do decide to leave up out of here, we're going to get drunk or get high and leave here. We are not going to leave here like that.
We will take pills. And you know what is so crazy is every channel I get, because of the things that I talk about, one of the videos I always make is saying that I am not suicidal and I never want to kill myself. I do not want to die. I don't want to. And if I was to die, please look into that because I'm not suicidal.
Yes.
I'm not at all.
We love ourselves.
My life is I'm very happy. I'm very proud of everything that I've accomplished because I've came a long way. And believe me, I am not snuffing myself out. So if you hear me overdosing or something, please look into that because it's not true.
And it wasn't a man who went on a hunting trip and he got shot. And they said that it was self-defense for the guys that was with him. He was the only black guy, and it was like 5 or 6 white men, and they went on a hunting trip with his co-workers.
I just saw that. I just saw something similar to that. It was on Identity Discovery.
Let's not forget the young black woman that was at that, what was it? It was an overnight party in Georgia.
Yep.
It has come out that even some of the people, some of the women, like their husbands and stuff, one of them was on the police department. They were looking through the files to see what was going on with the case.
Yeah.
They were doing all sorts of stuff.
I'm telling you, that is and the fact that we as moms, as aunties, as cousins, as wives, as all of that still live with that fear today.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, ladies. As far as the Black histories that they teach in school, I'm not pressed. We have our current history that we are still getting killed, lynched. We're still systematic racism is serious.
Right.
The simple fact that they want to remove Black History Month, the name alone, not what they teach, because what they teach is garbage, because they don't really teach real history. But the fact that they want to remove us from a curriculum is part of the problem. It's part of what we've been going through and need to be in the history books for yonder. And I'm gonna say we could write our own books. I mean, we don't have to be like we could write our own.
I mean, you have a good point, and now what the battle is going to be for us is the fact that they have all these laws going on. They're trying to ban books in public schools. They're trying to ban books out of libraries. They're taking every step, every measure they can. Like Island said earlier when I texted her, she said, "Hey, they are really trying to erase us." That's what they're trying to do. And so, and Island made this point last week as well. So now when you know, how do you explain to your kids when they're driving through a protest, when they're driving, you know, I'm shocked that nobody got out of hand after they put the sentence on the what was that white cop's name down there in Minnesota that killed that young boy? You know, that the folks in protest, I can't remember her name, but whatever it is, that they didn't, you know, that no protests have occurred yet. Maybe they're planning it.
We've been programmed. We not only been programmed, but we have been drugged. The simple fact, I don't know if you guys know it, but the stuff that they put in our food, they put in our water, it is to make us more complacent. They use the same tactics when they did the people in the Holocaust to keep them from uprising. The same tactics they use in there, they're using with the American people. And it's not just that, but it's the things that we have been taught. Black people have been taught that we are the aggressor. So to make it, to show that we're not the aggressor, we no longer really get aggressive. And the thing is that they called us savages, and they made us they made us out to be aggressors, not because we were, but it was like reverse psychology. We'll tell them they're aggressive and they're going to make them more passive, and it worked.
Yeah. And Kim Potter, thank you, Octavia. Shout out to Octavia for
Octavia, shout out to her.
You know, and the thing is that we didn't have there were no protests yet, at least. And so, but if there are some, if some do show up, you know, and then you got these small little kids coming through, Black and white kids, Asian kids, children of any race, and they see all of that. Now the powers that be get to spin the narrative and say, we tried to told you. That's why they need to be locked down. Because look at
the reverse psychology. We can't fall for that.
No.
It's like, how do you know what you're fighting for if you don't know the history of it? It just, you know?
Yes.
If you're bringing your child out there to protest, it's like, it's pretty much null and void because they don't know what's going on. If you're not teaching them,
they need to know the reason why they're protesting, what they're fighting for. Just like there's a great movie out there. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called The Hate You Give.
Yeah, I seen it.
It's a really good movie. Also, earlier about what you said a few minutes ago, Anthony, I looked it up real quick. The lynching postcards, there's a documentary on it. It's called Lynching Postcards, Token of a Great Day.
Girl, you need to drop that in the chat if you can.
So I'm not a mob,
gonna make me mad.
I'm not a mob, but I can send it to you.
That's gonna make me mad. That's gonna make me mad. I already know it's gonna make me mad.
I'm not yet.
You can drop it in the chat.
Okay.
The thing is that we Island and Shrinking, we don't have to go too far in our history, sis, because we are getting hurt now. During like back when I'll go to where when was Obama president? 2009 to like
hold on.
2008.
One second, Jess. Say the movie again there, Shrinking, because Mr. Cal's going to put it in the chat. Go ahead, Jess.
She is so perfect.
She's awesome.
Okay, 1 second. The movie is called Lynching Postcards, Token of the Day. I'm gonna send it to you in the I'm gonna send it to you in Instagram, so that if you want to copy and paste it.
Perfect. Excellent.
Okay.
What was you saying, Jess?
We don't have to look too far in the back. We don't have to look in history books to get mad. We could look at the Mike Brown incident. We could just look at our near future to this day. Just even the incident that the panel is created for, taking the Black history out the books. We don't have to read a book to know that right now that they're trying to erase us and erase what we've been through. Because honestly, we went through a lot. We went through more than anybody else here, because if you take into account that Black Americans are the original Indians, think about all the things from when they first arrived here to today that we are really going through.
And I mean, I agree. I agree with the fact that, our present day occurrences, our present day history is enough. But the point is that with social media, global media, and us not really being in control of the narrative, we still, just like with Mike Brown, that police officer was able to spin that up real quick, and then they said, well, he has weed in the system, and here's some footage of him when he was in the little bodega, and he went ham on the guy inside, which that was his business. There was no sound, so we don't know if the guy called Mike Brown an N-word. We don't know really what happened, but they got to spin that narrative real good. But they never did say exactly what that scuffle was about inside the bodega. So my point is that the present day occurrences are enough if we're speaking about it. But if a kid goes to a school, you got a Black child in a primarily white school, and he goes to his teacher, his counselor, and says, hey, what happened? Well, see, what happened is, don't do drugs, because you see Tom Jones over there, he was doing drugs, and that's why they lynched him. So don't do that, Johnny.
They will do that. No, and they do that. Then, when I was younger, and this is one thing I told my daughter's counselor, I was like, because I grew up with Caucasian teachers too. And, y'all tried it, but I was always a critical thinker. And the thing that I really got in trouble for, they wanted to put me in an alternative school because they said I was difficult, but I was so smart. They couldn't really, because a lot of times they put you there because
and that's what and on top of that, what you figure out back off of what you just said, that's why they like to label a lot of children with ADHD that they don't want to deal with anymore. They don't want ADD or ADHD. Let's drug them so we don't have to deal with them. And real quick before I want to let you know that I went ahead and sent you that link to it in Instagram.
And so one of my biggest things was, if all the slaves came from Africa, then why, when we learned about slavery in school, and this might be one of the reasons they want to take Black history out of school, because we're starting to ask questions. Why are they teaching us? And is it in the books? Does it say that African slaves were very scarce because they cost more money than the other slaves? And I used to always ask my teacher, who were the other slaves? Where did they come from? And they could, and instead of answering that question, I would always get in trouble, and my mom would get called.
Well, y'all, I'm gonna tell you what. Let's just we got a lot to think about. We got a lot to think about. It's just a lot. I'm glad that we could at least have this panel and just kind of put it out there. We got some good tips.
It's a very layered subject, Mel. It is, honestly.
But I love how all of our subject matters are coming together to make a bigger picture, and we're going to change some things, ladies. We are, because I know we all on this panel going to call that number on Tuesday.
Oh, definitely. That number's getting called.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen.
Right.
Let me pull that up right now.
Well? Yeah.
I'm about to pull it up so we can read it out loud. I gotta.
All right, I'm gonna say it. The number is 812-988-6625, and the extension is 1635.
And it appears that the counselor's name is Benjamin White, and it's Bernatha Elementary School. So let's blow their lines up, y'all. Let's blow up their lines and get on them.
And also, if you don't tell your story, someone will tell it for you.
Mm.
And tell it wrong.
Yes.
And you don't want nobody else telling you about who you are as a Black person
And if you
that
haven't
isn't Black. Because honestly, they don't, they're rewriting this history, and I'm just,
aren't you floored?
I have a problem with that. That really irritates me.
I'm not surprised. I'm gonna be honest. I've been following their movements for a while, and I'm not surprised. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I really don't like it, but I'm really not surprised. But I do have a
me either.
question.
Go ahead.
Oh, I had a question. It was a good question too. Now I done forgot. Y'all know I'm getting old.
That's why when you're on a panel like this, when your question comes to you, you write it down.
I know.
was about to say, okay.
That's what
So-
Sharon told us last week. That hand-to-mind coordination helps you retain information.
Sharon is very organized.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. I need to get more organized.
I would like everybody who's listening to this to ask their children, Black parents, white, Caucasian parents, Asian, I don't care who you are. Ask your children if they learned about Malcolm X in school, and let us know in the comments your answers. If your school taught about Malcolm X or not. Taught your kids about Malcolm X, because it seems like they're very selective about the Black people that they want to teach about. And that right there is also a way to control the narrative.
And let me jump in and piggyback off what you said. And if you notice, a lot of these politicians are starting to take the words of Malcolm Luther, Lord have mercy, Martin Luther King. I know. Well, that's the history teacher, but of Martin Luther King, and spin it to fit their narrative. They're going to take. Well, see, he said he wants to see the color of kids not be judged based on the color of their skin. He wasn't talking about y'all. He was talking about us. But now they're turning it around as a reason to say, we don't deserve reparations, or we don't need to learn about, critical race theory, so they're putting a spin on that as well.
Yeah. And no one wants to talk about the Martin no one wants to talk about the Martin Luther King no one wants to talk about Martin Luther King in his last 3 or 4 years of his life, because he didn't feel that way anymore. He was very optimistic.
And
that's why they killed him.
You know what they keep bringing up? This is one thing that as I've gotten older, that I constantly hear about Martin Luther King. I don't hear nothing about the speech or what he has done or the walks and everything. All I hear about is he used to cheat. Like, what the hell does that matter? It's like, oh, really? We're going to do that? When we have history showing pretty much every white president that they had cheated. Maybe one or two didn't, but like, this is bull.
See, my mother always told me that she knew they was going to kill Martin, because a year to the date before they killed him, he denounced the Black Panther Party and other, like Malcolm X and radicals that was out in the street doing things, and they wanted him to, and he refused to do that. Instead, he tried to educate people as the reason why Black people are out here fighting and acting ignorant out in the streets. And since they denounced him, the same people that gave him the Nobel Peace Prize and everything, all the major publications denounced him. Then they just flooded the radios with recordings of him looking for white women and him cheating and all this stuff became that whole last year of his life. All they did is try to slander him to justify. They thought doing that was going to make Black people not turn up. And that's why we got Holy Week
now. Because I hear that more than I hear about the great things that he has done way more great things.
A lot of great
than a little human error that quite a few men make daily.
They're throwing stones, but yet, they ain't gonna throw a stone at themselves.
They want to defame people, a prominent Black figure's name. And that's why I love Malcolm X so much, because they had nothing on him. All they tried to do was 20 years later say that somebody thought that he was bisexual or he was gay or something, when that didn't turn out to be true at all.
And what it was, that has nothing to do with what he was hollering about, what his ministry was. So
exactly,
no water in that boat.
And I just asked my little girl, how much has she learned about Malcolm X, and she said nothing, only what you told me.
Nothing.
Mm, mm, mm. Well,
What's sad is some parents might hear who is that from their children. That's
Lord.
even more. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like that's another thing. When you bring up stuff, they're not going to have any type of knowledge or until you teach them. It's just like they don't know who these people are.
Soon there won't be any resources because this book banning, and all of these things seem to keep going on like in the cover of night. You know what I'm saying? They don't promote that. They don't put an advertisement. Hey, we're going to ban books, you guys. Be sure to vote for candidate XYZ. They don't do that. You just wake up one morning and it's headlines. Okay, y'all can't have these books no more. Okay, y'all can't teach Black history anymore.
And you know what?
So that's why you need to buy books while they still have them at hardback available. Download them, save them.
No. Don't download nothing. Go to pawn shops. Go to Goodwills. What are those things called? Thrift stores.
Amazon sells a lot of books as well.
Yeah,
Amazon sells a lot of books.
And there's a part of eBay
you gotta steal them. No, I'm joking.
There's a part of eBay called half.com. You can buy books for half price on half.com, which is a part of eBay.
What y'all want to get is the books that haven't been tampered with yet. I go to pawn shops, I go to secondhand stores, and I get the books that people donate or somebody passed away and they give all. And I go to when someone has a yard sale. Because those are the books that it hasn't been tampered with yet. Those are the books that haven't been rewritten and redone and remixed and remade and remodeled to fit the agenda. So I have a little book. I have a little bookshelf back there, and it has books on it. I'm about to fill it up some more. I had more books than that. I don't know where they went, but I wanted to say something else. Gosh darn it, I didn't even write it down.
Yeah, I went on a book reading spree during the quarantine, and then by the time I knew it, I had so many books just stacked. I had to make a space in my room for the books I brought within the last year.
Yes, and besides that, like you said, even with collecting the books, you still need to have some type of device to have the books on. But the reason why I say that is because books get old, the papers turn colors, they turn yellow.
Yeah.
You read them books to your children. Read them and have a recording of them. Save them on a flash drive, them recordings, so they can be passed down.
Yeah.
Save them to a hard drive.
It just made me think about
from generations to come. Don't
paperback.
Paperback. Exactly. But even if you don't have an audiobook, you can read it.
Yeah. No, I just said when you said that, have them on find a device, it made me think about audiobooks. I wonder if some of these books on audiobooks.
Shrink and Sharon is technology. That's what Shrink and Sharon is. She got all the technology. Me personally, I'll just say read it because I'm not technology like Shrink and Sharon. She got a little bougie thing going on. Read it and then just interpret it to your children, and they can tell their children, and they can tell their children, and they can tell their children.
Yes.
Let me
It's like passing down. You treat that like you pass down them good recipes.
Wow.
You're not even gonna get on that. Unfortunately, that's getting extinct. You're gonna know how to cook on the darn stove.
You guys,
this instant gratification food.
Let me shout out.
That stuff.
Girl, you will have me pull it
Let me
on
shout
my
out
head.
Octavia real quick. Let me shout out Octavia real quick in the comments. Who said last book I purchased was 1619, and so much heck was raised about that book. Because I used to follow that the lady, I forgot her name, Nicole, I think, on Twitter, and she actually lost a job, I think a university, and Octavia, if you know, go on and put it in the chat, but she was supposed to be getting a job, I think it was at Harvard or something like that, and people were, some professors there were like, no, why is she getting this job, for what? And so at the last minute they rescinded the offer, and now I believe she's at Princeton, but she worked for years on this book. She worked for years on this book and really broke down, shed some light on the indigenous people and slavery and when it started and this, that, and 2/3. Lilac says, hello. I went to school during the 50s. I learned nothing about my heritage in school. Tried Tried to get me to sing Old Black Joe at 6 years old. I refused. I knew it was wrong. Hush your mouth up, girl.
Lilac, I would like
No,
to say I love Township. I do. I love playing Township. I do play it. I am kind of like, I'm a nerd a little bit, but girl, I love Township. Dude, yeah.
good idea there, Mr. Cal. Find PDF versions online and print them out.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
idea.
And also that
Idea.
1619 book, I just got that 1619 book because there's another content creator that's reviewing that 1619 book every week.
All right. Now I remember what I was going to say, and this
Go ahead,
is
jump
very
on in.
interesting to me. I forgot who said it. It's on my IG, and I can't look. I have a lot on my IG, you guys. I got a lot, but it was on my IG, and a man said, "After Jesus, we will hand give you the black people their messiahs." And that resonated to me on so many levels, because the way it was worded, that's not quoted because I don't remember exactly, because that was a long time I saw that. But it was pretty much saying that Jesus was literally the last black messiah that they're giving the black people. And
go ahead. My bad.
and that meant a lot to me, because of the simple fact that I knew before I read that a lot of the people that they gave us to quote unquote worship during Black History Month were puppets, and really did, like Rosa Parks, she wasn't the one who sat on the bus. That wasn't her. It was somebody else.
Was a lot of black women that protested and did stuff. Ida B. Wells did the same thing way before her, and Bit a Man that was trying to put her off that train.
Rosa Parks she was what is that Golden Dawn? Is that what it's called? She was a Golden Dawn, which is like the female Mason.
Yeah, like the Lynx and the Boule in them.
Yeah, that's why she was the face of it. And they would put their Boule members as the faces of the Black History. Those are most of them are Boule members.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so here's my thing. I'm just. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, sweet love. No. You're fine. I'm just getting a little radical now. And here's my point is, I don't give a if it was not. You understand? Because I'm gonna tell you what I read. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I read. The only reason why, and you could very well be right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not discounting what you're saying. You may very well be right, because the woman that was on the bus, maybe she looked, she didn't look attractive enough.
Yeah,
to
she
be
wasn't, and she was young, and she was pregnant. She was like young. She didn't.
So it could have been all that. But what I learned, what I read is the reason why Martin Luther King went to, I guess it was Alabama, is because of the situation that went down with Rosa Parks. They said Martin Luther King did not know Rosa Parks or whoever, the real person is that did it. I don't know. I think we should keep that a secret, or the folks might try to. That's the reason why we don't teach Black history. You guys don't even believe it. But I'm saying is that no matter who it was, I'm glad that the protest happened.
Yeah. He did come there because of Rosa Parks. I mean, I know a little.
And they didn't know each other. Yeah, they didn't know each other before that.
Correct.
The word got to him, and he said, "Oh no, we about to be about it." And so that's what happened there. But you could be right, I'm just, and that's probably another reason why. That's probably another reason why. Well, we really need to be fighting for this, our history to stay in school, and for it to be more expanded. And if they are going to. I think I have this picture here where when that news report that we started off with, there were some people that had tweeted, and they were like, I didn't put it in here, but they were like, man, this is a shame. So that means no history at all should be taught then. You guys do not get to single out our Black history. And then you're going to force all these other forms of history on us, and we better not act out in the class. You're going to throw us out of it. It's not fair.
And then call our mamas like we done did something wrong.
Thank you. And I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the
manipulation. For standing up for yourselves. I've always taught my children, I don't want you to, be aggressive or whatever like that. But if you're in school and you find something that's not right, then you have our phone number. Call us. We will
And
go
you
back
do
up
need
there
to
and
stand
we
up.
will handle it.
And you do
No, I
need to
said
stand
no, I'm not saying you
Right,
don't have a
right,
right
right,
not
right.
to stand up
Yeah.
for yourself.
Absolutely.
But if it's, definitely
gets-
stand for yourself, but also at the same time, let us know. We will be up there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Because just like what we talked about
Because-
last week about the teacher somehow being able to convince those students to get up there and play like they're slaves and be sold. We need to be teaching our kids, speak up for yourself right now, because somebody might sit next to me might speak up, and y'all done got me to the point where all he got to do is just say one thing and I'll be the one to go ham. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna hit you up, Mel, on IG if they cut up with my daughter again. I'm like, Mel Cruz, I need you to be so classy and tell them off in your little classy way.
Okay, all right, okay. So that's your word. Tell me to calm down. Okay, let me calm down.
No, I'm serious. No, I'm serious. Wait, my school, because like I said, it's always it's majority Caucasians, and it's like because when they called me, I said, well, do you have a black teacher there that could sit down with everybody, or do I have to come in? And it's like, honestly, I see it. I see the fact that I'm going to have to call some people because evidently they don't understand.
Right.
I'm going to eventually one day I might need some backup.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll be there for you.
I'm by myself. I'm one mom by myself. And the people that were born and raised in this actual county, they just want to be a part of the get along, the you know what I'm saying? They just want to fit in. And I'm not like that. So it's like one day I'm going to need some backup with these people.
Look what Carolyn Marie said. Sometimes you can't trust the black teacher either.
Not at all. She's right.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Y'all, let's get ready to wrap up because
So you getting there.
That's why I said it's so many layers. It's just
it's complex.
I love this topic though. And Mel, I'm so appreciative of you bringing me up on this panel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of you ladies.
This was great.
Definitely. I really thank and shout out to you, Mel Cruz, for bringing us together as this panel, and Sean as well.
Absolutely. I was just going to say
both of you, bringing us together, because this was a great idea.
Yeah, Sean Davy Way Collection. Listen, if I could have put hashtag Sean Davy Way Collection on this
on this bag. You know what? I need to put it above my title. You know what? I think I'm gonna edit my community post and put that on there.
Yeah.
You know what? We can edit it. Sean, hashtag Sean Davy. Thank you, Sean Davy. I love me some Sean.
Well, Sean Davy Way Collection.
Love Sean.
We out here.
We're Sean's girls.
Collection, y'all. That's what we
Sean Davy Way Collection.
Come
on.
Indeed, I adore Sean.
I know it.
And he don't be playing either. I be in I be cutting up. I don't usually cut up, but I cut up in his little thing. I don't care.
Right.
I will windmill throughout that whole thing for my baby.
We'll make you do it. Well, y'all, I'll tell you, I appreciate y'all being ready and available and all of that. So that's all good. We're going to make it happen. We're going to do something. But yeah, we got the number. Before we cut out, let me put that number back on the screen for the replay game. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. And call the school on Tuesday, y'all. Benjamin White. And I'm just, you read the number so well. You want to...
It's 812-988-6625. And then when you call that number, you're going to hear a message. And as soon as it starts playing, press for extension 1635. And that is where you need to be. It's Spernica Elementary School.
Yeah.
Yes, apply pressure.
Real pressure.
Put your foot on their necks.
Where's Jasmine Sullivan when we need her? Let's see. Kamari, girl.
Come on.
That's for y'all. Because
our good sis
Thanks for pulling up, sweetheart. Sure do appreciate you. Yeah, Mr. Cal says Sean Davy Way Collection hair flip.
Yes. I definitely. That's going in my community tab.
Yes. And that's what this panel is. We out here. Oh Lord. So y'all, we're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. I just, like I said, if you say, well, okay, I'm gonna call the school, what do you want me to say? First, you ask 2 questions. Who in the hell told this counselor to send this letter home? And the second question is, why are you just gonna call the parents independently?
No, Mel, they're ready for that. This is the school. We want to ask the superintendent why he's calling people independently. The school, we don't want to ask no questions. I don't mean to overstep. I'm just saying, I know how, like, I've handled stuff like this before. You don't want to ask no questions because they're ready for any question that you have. They have thought this through. They have thought this over. They're not sleeping. So don't ask no questions. Say, Benjamin, what you did was wrong. You need to right the wrong. Don't ask no questions. Don't give no space for pushback.
Yes, because I want to know if he still worked there and then he needs to be fired. What type of corrective action is being brought on Benjamin? Because I don't think he needs to work there. He needs to be reprimanded and he needs to be fired.
Y'all can call 812-988-6625 and press 0.
And I feel like Benjamin was a scapegoat for sure.
And ask to speak to the principal instead of going to the counselor. You can call the number and press 0 and ask to speak, or 1 or whatever, and ask to speak to the principal instead of the counselor, and ask the principal what he thought, why he thought it was. Don't even ask him. Say it was not okay. What you did was not okay. Just assume it. Don't give no room for pushbacks. Just put pressure and say what you did, and allowing the counselor to put out that paper was not okay, because you want to box them in a corner to where they have no other resource, no other way but to put a public statement out there, because that's what we want.
And then when you get done with that part of the conversation, tell them to transfer you to that counselor so you can give them 2 cents.
Don't even ask them to do that. Hang up on him.
No, we got to look. I agree with you, Jess. Now I'm just it's an equal panel. And we all voices all carry the same weight. So I'm feeling you. But for me, in my house, we're gonna speak to that counselor.
I want that counselor fired.
Thank you. And to be them counselors that tell your kids you're not college material, you'll never make it. Just go on and get you a job at Mike's car wash. So he needs to be told something.
Yeah, he needs to be told something, whether it was his idea to do it or whether he was forced to do it, for the simple fact he didn't stand up and say no. He would have stood up for our people, and we would have stood up and said, no, I think this is wrong and stuff, because only thing they could have did was transfer him. Even if they fired him, he could have went to another county, another city, another state, and still got the job. And if he got 10 years, they still couldn't have fired him. So therefore, whether it was his choice to do it and he did it, or whether they forced him to do it, he still did it. So either way, he needs to go.
Yeah, y'all hear this beat. Let this beat get to you. All right, let's get to it.
I was like, what was that? You're right.
That's that. Let's get that counselor on the line.
That's the out here music.
We about to call this counselor up, and you about to answer these questions. We need to know. Have that music playing in the background.
You gonna have a gangster, little gangster rap beat in the background.
Lord have mercy.
You gonna give somebody a heart attack on their phone.
We mean business. You hear the gangster?
Karen gonna be upset if she hear that music in the background while you talking.
Yeah.
Mind you, most of 50 Cent songs, I don't know how they are now, but I know back in the day you used to have gunshots in the beginning of the song.
Yes, that's what you need.
I got some of them. I got some of that, but I don't use it because one, y'all know I don't be talking on topics like that, and plus that's Armand's flow, the gunshots.
Armand's good at that.
Yeah.
He don't be playing.
Yeah, but that very first song on 50 Cent's first album does got Gunshots Island.
Yes. They'd be like, what in the world is going on over there?
Karen will be upset.
That's
we coming
crazy.
to your school. We in the parking lot right now. Yes.
But y'all go ahead and call that number.
Let me see. My name is pronounced Kamara.
Maria.
Yes, Kamaria.
Oh, Kamaria.
Thank you, Kamaria. Thank
That's
you, girl.
pretty.
That is pretty.
Y'all. Well, you know what? That's it. That is
Beautiful name.
y'all. That's our that's the WOH panel. We out here.
You know
Make
what
sure
we
to
got to
like, share,
talk about
subscribe.
that I want to talk about one day that's not so heavy and won't probably get us so upset?
What's that?
What's going on with Wendy Williams?
Ugh.
I understand she's doing better, but yeah, we can
I don't
do
think
that. I'm down for it.
that could be our next one because I really don't think so.
Okay, I'll research and.
Yeah, well, I don't like her, so I don't really have nothing nice to say about it.
I'm not a big fan of Wendy's either, but you know. But,
I'm not a
it's
super fan of her either.
I'm
What's
not
the
a big
name?
fan of hers either, but I could discuss her without being biased, you know.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm biased. I don't like the way she did Method Man's wife. I don't like the way she did Method Man's wife.
I don't like the way she did a lot of people.
Yeah, Method Man's wife took me over the edge. It's fuck her forever. I don't like her.
Yeah.
So Mel, that could be something good. I'll put a little intro on my channel about that and put my thoughts on it. Then we can come here and talk as a group.
Whatever it takes. Whatever. What was you gonna say, Alan? We kind of cut you off, girl. What'd you say
Oh,
now?
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I was confused when I heard that she was coming back because I know I remember they had that actress, and I'm looking at her, and I can't remember her name, but she was she was filling in for her for the time being.
Yeah,
but but they said that she had, unless it was wrong misinformation, but I read somewhere that they ended up giving her the job.
Yeah. So Wendy is not back. She's just out of the hospital because remember they were saying she was in a wheelchair and all this, that, and 2/3.
Right.
But so she's well now is what they're saying. But I read the same thing that Sherry Shepherd has the role.
Right. So I'm like, dude, from what it looks like, they might not even want her back.
Probably not. Probably
yeah,
not.
Amon was saying in his video that she might be back with her ex-husband. Girl,
I don't believe that for one bit.
I hope not. I hope that is not true.
Even if she is, he ain't left the other girl.
I know he's supposed to win a guardianship, right? Or something, so I heard, but I don't know.
He's trying to make sure his name on that will. He's trying to make sure his name on that will. He ain't slick.
Exactly, that money. That's why he want that guardianship.
Well, let's see. Carolyn said
allegedly.
Method Man did his
own alleged
like that. He gave Wendy the
Yes,
back in the day. Though. That was back in the day.
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Ooh, child, and ooh,
that was. Let me be quiet.
I just thought about Sean's Patreon, Lord.
Yep, he gave her that METHOD, man.
Now, don't do it.
Don't forget to check him out tomorrow, Power.
Y'all, let's get on up out of here, y'all. That's it. That's the podcast. Thanks for pulling up. Yeah, it's the WOH panel. We out here shrinking Sharon. I'm just Alan Browning, Antoinette, and of course me, the only male Cruz. You know what? We do it sporadically, but we'll be back when we come back. And be sure to like, share, subscribe, be a part of the replay gang. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Shout out to Mr. Cal for just being the universal mod. We sure appreciate you, girl. So until next time, y'all, we will see ya when we see ya.
Sprunica Elementary School in Brown County allegedly sent a letter home to parents allowing students to opt out of Black history lessons.
The last line of that letter in this picture reads, if you would like to opt your child out for receiving these lessons, then sign the form below and have your child return it to the school to give to the teacher. The post is making its rounds on social media with thousands of retweets and comments. One response, this makes me really sad for America. Another writes, why would this even be an option? 13 News reached out to the counselor who